Hi guys, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host Indira, and today I'm here for a super fun revisited episode with Almi Nerukar and Jasmine Wood. In this episode, we're going to talk through their journeys to where they are now and an in-depth discussion around the NCAA, their experiences so far, and what it's like out there, and their progression over the past year. Okay, as always, if you've been enjoying the podcast, please be sure to give it a rating, as it helps give credibility to the show so I can keep bringing you guys the guests you want to hear from. Okay, let's get into the episode. Also, before we do, make sure you check out Almi Nerukar on YouTube and also Jasmine Wood on Instagram, and I'll link that down below to make sure you're following these guys and staying up to date with their journeys. Okay, to the episode. Hi guys, how are you? I'm here today with Jasmine Wood and Almi Nerukar. So yeah, how are you? How are you, Jasmine?
I'm so good, thank you. How are you?
Yep, doing well. How about you, Almi?
I'm good. Yeah, a bit of a time difference between us, but I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And I think obviously we've spoken before. If you haven't already checked out the episodes with Jasmine and Almi, definitely go do that. So we're here for a bit of a revisited situation. Do you guys want to give a summary of your current situation, where you're at now? Jazz, do you want to start off?
I'll go first. So I'm in Albuquerque right now, studying and running at University of New Mexico. So yeah, I'm studying a master's in sports administration, but it's like so nice because you can just really focus on your running because I'm finding the academic system's like very different. So yeah, just enjoying running mainly.
Is that different in a good way or different in a different
Um,
way?
I'd say different in a good way. I feel like it's a lot easier compared to maybe doing a master's in the UK. I feel like maybe the workload's a lot less. So
Okay.
yeah, it's nice.
All positives for the running side of things then.
Yes, defo.
And how are you finding the area just in general?
Um, I mean, Albuquerque's kind of literally just in the middle of a desert, and there's not really any bodies of water anywhere. Um, it's nice. Like, there's a few dodgy areas, but you kind of just always end up being with other people, so you don't really get worried about these dodgy areas. But yeah, it's nice. It's like sunny every day. Even if it's
Wow.
cold, it'll be sunny. So it's just like a lot less depressing than UK winter, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. I can confirm it's starting to get a little bit on the grey side and the dark
Yeah.
side. But no, it's good you're able to avoid the dodgy areas, and yeah, maybe a good job you're not a
Yeah.
fisherman or anything like that, because it doesn't
Yeah.
sound like that would work. How about you, Almi? What's your situation? Give us a rundown.
Um, well, in terms of being in the middle of nowhere, I feel like I'm the opposite. So I'm at Georgetown University, and that's just outside of Washington, DC. So it's like a 10-minute, I don't know, cycle or drive into DC, which is really cool because like we run past the monuments every day, the White House, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. All my friends have been asking me like, oh, like, is it crazy around the elections? But I think Georgetown's like slightly removed, or I don't know. My life hasn't changed too much, well, so far, and yeah, I don't know. I kind of same as Jazz. Like I feel like masters is less intense than my undergrad in the UK. I'm studying journalism, so I'm enjoying that. And the running, I'd say the main difference for the running is it was like we just train very early in the morning, um, and yeah, there's just like such a big group of girls, which I feel like in the UK is less common.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's great to hear. And I see you nodding along there, Jazz. So I guess in terms like those early mornings, do you want to dive in a bit deeper? How early are we
Yeah.
talking?
How early is it for you? It's actually gone down. Like we're actually like he gave us a line today. It was 9 a.m. today because
Oh,
we raced on Friday and we're racing again next Saturday. So like this week is just like easy and recovery. So I think he's like trying to prioritize sleep. But I think the earliest I've had to get up is 6. So okay, like it actually is like when I speak to my friends who are working full time, like that's normal for them. But um I just think, compared to the luxury I was used to back in Leeds.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. It is a change. And I mean, yeah, it definitely is a bit earlier. How about you, Jazz? Similar
Yeah,
situation?
it's kind of similar. I mean, like when I first got out here in like August, September, it was literally roasting. So training would be at like, yeah, 6 a.m. So it would be like get up at 5:20. And it would be like getting lighter, like it would still be light at that time, but now it's more like around the 8 o'clock, 8:30 time. So it's a lot nicer now. Like it's a lot more doable. Like I don't know how I was very lucky in the UK. I think like with my degree, I'd be able to just go for a run literally whenever I wanted in the day. If it was like 2 p.m. or 12 o'clock. And I'm like, oh my God, setting an alarm in the fives is just disgusting.
Have you
But
been
it's
going
different now.
like super early as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I feel like that makes it because I'm living with athletes as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
same.
So like it's not too bad. I think we just like I've just like adapted my schedule a bit. And
Yeah. It's quite nice to go to bed early as well because like the time difference in the UK means that everyone's like already asleep when you're trying to go to sleep.
it's actually
So you
so
don't have
true.
anyone to like keep you up or like distract you from going to bed.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
No,
that's
it's good. And like I feel like then you have like your whole day to do whatever you want. So
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, I was just about to ask actually kind of on that, you mentioned the Almi like having the whole rest of your day left, whether you've kind of found it to be a more positive thing and how you found sort of having things done in the morning, or is there part two, part three later on in the day?
Well, I like especially at the start, I'd like finish training and I'd come straight back to bed and sleep.
Yeah, same.
So I feel like it was kind of like counterproductive because then I'd get up again at 2 and or I don't know, no, maybe not 2, but like um and then go like yeah, all my classes in the afternoon or evening. So um then I go to class and I mean some days yeah, then I do like another run or swim, but we usually like we do our like gym workouts right after like a workout. So I don't have to do that by myself.
That's nice to hear. And I guess that team element as well, like having such a strong team focus, does it make it easier to, I guess, get up earlier or just kind of train in general?
I think 100% yes. Like Amy said, like living with athletes as well. Like I live with three other girls who are on the team. And it's kind of like we all just kind of emerge out of our rooms in the morning, like all making coffee, all go there together, all get back together. Luckily, we've got our own bathrooms, so we don't have like who's going to use the shower first after training. But it's very much like I'd say all of my friends here are also on the running team. Like because you're just literally with them all day, every day. You travel with them, you train with them. It's really nice. Like it is such a big change to what particularly I'm used to in the UK, like doing everything by myself. Like you always have someone, it's easier to get up basically when you've got other people who are also going to training as well. So I love it.
No, it's really great to hear. And how are you finding kind of in general having such a strong focus on running, being with these people all the time? It sounds like surrounded by runners, running with runners, everything with runners. Is it ever too much or how is it?
I've had to like make a conscious effort to because I think for me I do like enjoy a break from it. So I like there's people in my program that I'm like getting closer to, but I know what jazz means. It is so easy to like not or just like spend time
Yeah.
just with the team because yeah, it's like you wake up with them, go to work out, and like and then you're with them for most of the morning, and then like I don't know if in and like after class if you then have to train or like I don't know it's just hard and then like I think also the traveling means that especially the last few weeks I've been away every single weekend so like it's hard to see or like hard to do like fun things outside of class with normal people but I'm going for curry tonight with some of my friends from my program so like that's definitely something I enjoy.
Okay. No, that's really cool to hear. And how about you, Jazz?
Yeah, it's kind of the same. I mean, like I think I really like being surrounded by runners because it's everyone's got that same kind of mindset and everyone's just like motivating each other on. But I think it does kind of get hard sometimes, especially with the fact we're doing cross country right now, which is something that I typically wouldn't be doing at this time of year. Like I'd usually do like road races. Maybe I'd do a cross country race if I had external pressure being like, you need to do cross country, just because it's not really my cup of tea. But like having other girls like constantly around you, I think sometimes I do overthink, like, oh my gosh, I'm not performing over cross country, so that means I'm not going to perform well on the roads or the track, if that makes sense, because you're surrounded by so many people who, like, some of them are so much better than you, some of them the same as you, some of them like are still aspiring to be faster. And it's just like, I think you do sometimes get into your head about it because like you are constantly just surrounded by everyone. And maybe this is just a me thing and overthinking everything. But I think it does kind of get a bit intense. And definitely in the first few weeks, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. But it's good now. It's all a lot better now.
Wait, Jazz, you know the thing, the bracelet on your wrist, the Kenyan one. Is that
Oh
yours
yeah.
today?
No, it's not. It's actually from my boyfriend because he went to Kenya and got it.
Okay.
But like so many of them have this. Like
Oh,
everybody's so many of them have got one because there's quite a lot of Kenyans on our team.
oh, that
And
okay.
they've all like bought some back and like some of the girls have one which says like Go Lobos on it, which is our
Oh,
like
that's so cute.
university mascot thing. So yeah, it's really
Yeah,
cute.
yeah, that's so nice.
Yeah. How
No,
about
I'm the only international on the team, so
oh wow. That's
yeah.
like the opposite here. We've got, I think, maybe, yeah, there's like three American girls in our travel team of eight. And then
Okay.
the rest are all international. So we've got like Australians, there's a couple of Brits, and then there's a couple of Kenyans as well,
Okay.
all over, all over.
Who would you say you're closest to?
Well, I mean, I live with, do you know Tilly Simpson?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I live with Tilly, and then I also live with this girl called Clara, and
Okay.
she's from Australia. So I'd say I'm probably quite close to them. But I
Yeah.
think our travel eight is all very like close and tight knit. And I think as the season has gone on and like the teams got smaller to just become
Mm.
like the running team, I'd say we've all got like a lot closer, which is really, really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. No, I'd say that's the same for me as well. Like
Yeah.
also like the last two races, it's been eight of us
Yeah.
rather than like 15 of us. And I think that like makes it easier to, I don't know, just like get to know people
How
and then
is it being like the only international on the team though?
It's fine. Like I don't mind. Like I think that's why I enjoy like on my program there's people from other
Oh yeah.
like other places. So like that's part of it as well that I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
get some international attention when I
A lot of British accent interpretations and
yeah,
impressions,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah. No, I'm still working on my American accents.
Oh yeah, I can't. I literally can't.
You know, it's interesting you say that though, because Jazz, I feel like you have a slight twinge of something, like almost kind of somewhere
Do you
between like
think?
Australian. Just, I don't know, I'm feeling like I'm sensing a bit of like an Australian, slight
That's
American
what
on
you're
a
gonna be
few
like after a
things.
year. Just
I'm
three
literally going to
months
be a
in.
different person.
Yeah.
I think like there's a lot of slang that I've picked up um, that I typically wouldn't say, and then like English things I'll like bring up, like saying something's a faff or like that's such a faff, and then everyone's be like, "What is a faff? What is that?" And it's kind of like you have to tell them like, "Okay, this means this," and they're like, "No way, that's not real." And I'm like, "Yeah, I swear."
Do you feel like there's a lot of faffing on the team?
Um, I think sometimes there gets like a little bit of faffing. It's
Okay.
like some because the way we train, we have like the guys and then the girls like training separately. I mean, one of our runners trains with the guys because she's insane, but like the guys will take forever to warm up and then do their session because obviously they do longer sessions than us. And so if the girls are ever after the guys, we have to wait for them, especially for tempo, we have to like wait for them to get back. So the coaches are back with the bikes and we'll just be standing there having completed our warm up like half an hour ago, like where are the coaches? Are they coming back? Like, how long are these guys going to take? And I'm like, oh, this is such a faff.
Okay. Yeah, because I literally used that word this morning. I was like, oh, all this faffing. Not deal.
You have to explain it. It's like, what is a faff?
Oh, I love that. And that's really interesting you say that then. So I guess from the outside, it would seem that everyone's probably, I don't know, maybe like a bit robotic, like super serious out there. It's all like scheduled, all these programs and structures and stuff. But it sounds like, I don't know, are people actually quite kind of like chill and casual within it?
I think so. I mean, like from the outside, it does look very structured, and I think it is still very structured. Like everything is just so this is what you're doing on Monday, this is what you're doing on Tuesday, this is the workout, this is the workout. Be here at this time, otherwise you have to do 10 push-ups, like that kind of thing. But it's actually really nice, like being in the group because I think all the girls, like we all care for each other and like want to help each other to run well and perform well. And obviously there's a bit of competitiveness. Like sometimes at the end of a tempo, it will be like a sprint because people are wanting to do the last mile quicker than someone else. I'm just like, oh, this is not my tempo pace right now. But I think, yeah, I think it's a lot more relaxed when you're inside it compared to just like seeing it from the outside. I mean, I don't know how it is at Georgetown, but here it's very like it's nice. Like we all went to the coach's house yesterday to watch the selection party and all sat down on the sofas, like had pizza, had some pretzels, which is really, really nice. Yeah, I think it's a lot more relaxed when you're inside the environment instead of looking at it from an outside point of view.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like it's the same with me, and our coaches are great. I think that
Yeah.
that definitely helps environment be um well, just like a nice environment to be in. Like it's not super intense every single day. Um and I think yeah, like the structure is very different to the UK of having to meet every day, but um once you're there, it's like kind of similar.
Yeah. And how long do you feel like it took you guys to kind of settle in, or like where are you in that sort of journey of transitioning to a new country at the moment?
I think it actually took me a really long time to settle in. I'd probably say only in the last like 2, 3 weeks have I felt like this is a new normal for me. I think the first couple of months I was really like struggling because obviously like everything's different. You're away from home, nothing is the same. Um, the food's not the same, the climate is not the same, the people are not the same. So it's literally submersing yourself in an entirely new environment. I think for me it took like quite a long time. Um, Particularly because I'm used to like the running by yourself thing and a different like training style. So it's actually just like changing everything up. But I feel like I'm submersed in it now.
Yeah, I mean, they say it takes like 2 years to fully settle in another country.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
it is a big deal. Like you're changing a lot and going into basically like an institution as well. And I don't know if the other girls have been there before you guys got there, or is everyone new to the
Yeah.
program
I
or?
think, well, because there was a coaching change here. So a lot of girls left. And then last year they had a bit of like a down year, like the team didn't make nationals or anything like that. So I think there's one girl on the cross team right now who's been here for a couple years, but everybody else is new or was bought in January. So everyone's kind of just figuring out things together, which is quite nice as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. And how about you, Almi? What's your experience been like?
Yeah, I'd say like actually a lot of them have been like a lot of the team are in undergrad still. So and there are a few like grad transfers, but yeah, they're like a lot of the team have been here. Like some of them are like even 4 years, and it's their last year. So it's like it's nice. Like how everyone's kind of like in a different boat. Like for some, it's like their last regionals, their last nationals, and then like for me, it's obviously my first. Um, and I think. Well, I don't know. I'm excited for Christmas and to like step foot in European soil again. But
Me too.
like, yeah, I think I don't know. I think probably like the biggest thing for me, like the to adapt to, was just like the structure and yeah, being t like obviously I'd have a coach. I had a coach at home who'd set my program for the week, but like Jazz said, I could like choose to do my easy run at whatever time I wanted. Um, and I think like that's a big difference. But it's like it's I think it's like nice because I just kind of like wake up and I'm just there and I just run and then like, I don't have to like motivate myself to get up.
Yeah, I guess there's always pros and cons, and yeah, you'll get some positives, but then you'll get some new negatives, and vice versa. And I guess on the whole, sort of like new culture, new system situation for you guys. I mean, earlier you mentioned Jazz, like people, food, culture, climate. What's your kind of like number one thing that was like, I don't know, like a shock or a standout in terms of people, food, and like climate slash kind of the area you're in. Almi, do you want to start off?
Okay. Well, the food, I like live on a house, so I do most of my cooking for myself. But occasionally I go to the dining hall, and yeah, it's like weird. I leave the dining hall and I'm like, wait, am I full or am I still like I've eaten so much, but like it just feels like empty food. Like it's weird. Yeah, there's something in that food in that dining hall. But I still keep going. Anyway, and then culture-wise, I think I don't know, like I probably saw myself as quite like a like outgoing, um, well, like I don't know, loud, maybe, but like here I'm definitely on the quieter end, um, and I think yeah, maybe that's a cultural difference.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think anyone can compete with the American kind of let's go
Yeah.
attitude. How about you, Jazz?
It's like kind of similar to what Almi said, to be honest. Like, I feel like I was quite outgoing, and then you get here, and like everyone's so extroverted and insanely loud. It's so I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But like food as well, food shops, they're so expensive. Like, you go to the quote unquote budget supermarket, and your weekly shop will still be like $100+, and it's just like insane. And every time I'm swiping my card, I'm like, oh my god, this is so expensive. But yeah, I think all the food is just like different. And I think I've been living off the same few meals because I'm scared to actually explore other foods here. And I'm just kind of sticking to what's safe. Because the first few weeks I was out here, I had like really bad stomach problems. And we ended up, like, I spoke to a nutritionist, and we ended up like deciding that it was actually down to what I was eating. And like the food here is just kind of, it's interesting. And I think when I come back in January, I'm gonna literally pack like a suitcase full of like English home foods that are like comfort foods, because I only bought like one bar of Cadbury's out here, and that was gone within a week. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I'd say the food is probably one of the big ones.
Yeah, no, I get you there actually. I mean, I started school in America and they would always say to us, it's just a room full of new friends you haven't met yet. Like it's like so friendly from the start.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's definitely stuff in their food. It doesn't, it's yeah, it's got other additional ingredients, I think. So, but
yeah,
hopefully you'll, I don't know, maybe like get used to it more or perhaps just find the sort of whole foods. But you, I guess you just got to do what you can do and yeah, pack a giant suitcase, get
yeah.
that extra luggage allowance.
No, it's so true.
Oh gosh, no, that's really interesting to kind of hear about how things have initially been so far. And I guess if we just sort of like go for a couple of fun questions before we like dive into things a little bit more deeper. If you had to describe yourself as a chocolate bar, what would you choose and why?
You know the Marvelous Creations, which has like the jelly bits and the popping candy inside. I hope you know the one I'm talking about.
I'm
I'd
nodding.
I'd probably say that one. But that also might just be because like that's my favorite chocolate bar. But I just think it's kind of like you think it's going to be plain, and then it's kind of a bit like crazy on the inside. So I don't really know how else to describe it.
I love that. I love that. How about
Um,
you, Almi?
okay, well, I'm thinking of like the celebrations because I feel like I'd be like a mix. Like
Hmm.
I feel like maybe. Well, Snickers, I just love like peanuts, peanut butter. I'm having a lot of peanut butter right now out here. Um, and then I mean like Bounty because I feel like here I'm a bit of like the weird choice, the weird Brit. Like
Go on, no one picks.
yeah.
I was going to say, you've gone for all the ones that get left last.
Oh wait, Snickers get left last.
I swear,
Wow,
Snickers, Mars,
plot
I'm
Bounties.
twist.
picking Snickers. I'm picking
Oh, I
Snickers
love
first.
Snickers too, but that I
Yeah.
find they're always at the bottom of the celebrations.
Mm.
Oh, no, yeah. I
We
mean,
haven't
yeah,
mentioned any American chocolate bars, so
American chocolate is disgusting.
yeah,
I'm really
clearly
not
you
the
haven't
biggest
bought into
fan.
that yet.
yeah,
Hershey's.
yeah.
Mm.
For a country that's meant to be, so good on the sweet tooth, they really are letting the side down when it comes to chocolate, I
Yeah.
think. Definitely. Okay, and like in terms of your dream training camp, what would that be? Who would be there with you, and why would you choose that place? Has
Ooh.
anyone got an
Oh,
answer?
well, I have too many to say. Like, um, seeing Jazz's like Kenya bracelet, I want to go to Kenya one day. For training.
Hmm.
I want to go back to Ethiopia, train there. I also want to go to India. I know that sounds really rogue, but
Oh my gosh.
I met this Indian hurdler, um, when I was in Barcelona, and she, well, her coach said that there was some like altitude camp on a tea plantation, and so like it would be cool to go there. Morocco, Australia, like I don't know.
Basically everywhere.
It's turned into a world tour for you.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Jazz, any additional destinations, or have you got a different
Well,
world tour lined up?
to be honest, like where I am here in Albuquerque, like it actually feels like one big training camp anyway, because you get a lot of pros coming here because it's at altitude. So like we have like a lot of pros just training on the track, or like Josh Kerr will be down on the trail. And so I'd say like if I wasn't here, I'd probably want to come here to just try it out. But I literally haven't been on any training camps really, apart from Portugal, which I think everyone's been to Portugal. So just kind of everywhere as well. Like I want to do South Africa because I feel like a lot of people go to South Africa and it looks so cool. And then, oh, I really want to train on that track with all the mountains. I'm not, maybe it's St. Moritz. I'm not sure which one it is, but it just looks amazing and so pretty. So I really want to go there.
Yeah, that sounds really nice. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
a view on a track is definitely, yeah, you
Yeah.
can't really beat that. Um,
Good photos as well.
yeah, definitely. And I guess as well, then, in terms of sort of if we're on sort of the topic of travel to some extent, it seems like you guys are traveling around the country quite a lot. What's that like? Like, is it quite, are we talking long flights, lot of travel? Is it exhausting?
I really quite like the travel. I think it's because whenever I was in the UK, I'd be like, oh, get really excited, even just like going to Armagh. But now it's like we're traveling across states to go and run a cross country race. I think it's just so fun. I mean, the flights, I think the travel takes it out of me a bit, but especially like after a race, because the cross country here just puts you in a different bin that you've never even been in before. That's what I'm finding anyway.
Yeah, it does. I was thinking that as well. I was like, why? Because it's kind of short.
It's so
It's usually
hard.
shorter, isn't it?
Yeah,
6K. But yeah,
it's so hard. Like I will literally be heaving at the finish line and be
it
like,
takes me
ugh.
like 3 to 4 days to
Yeah,
recover and like actually, yeah.
yeah. And it's like going back on the plane because Albuquerque is quite a small airport, so you usually have to fly to another airport and then to Albuquerque after that. So we'll be traveling back for like 6 hours after doing a race, and my nose will just be blocked, my ears will be blocked, my throat will be closing, and I will just be so sick from all the traveling. Like traveling there's fun, but traveling back is just like I just want my bed.
I think maybe because we're a bit more central, or not central, but like we've only had to fly once, and all the other ones have been on coach.
Oh,
So yeah, like so I guess it's a bit easier. For next week we'll be flying, um,
yeah.
but yeah, the other times we've been able to go on a coach, which just like makes it a bit less stressful.
Have
Because
they
like the
been
first
like,
time we flew, I forgot my passport.
oh, oops.
But
How did that
yeah,
work?
well, I just like I luckily like I just happened to have my driving license in the bottom of my bag,
Oh my
and then so
gosh.
I had to do like special security. Yeah, I had to
Oh, good.
go through myself.
Wow, I mean, life hack, you can fly without a passport, I guess, as long as you've got a driving license.
Well, yeah, no, like because none of the other like because everyone else didn't like they can just use their I don't even know what like ID
Like
card,
the
for example,
ID,
maybe
American
driving
ID,
license.
yeah.
Yeah, so like they didn't need their passport, so I didn't even like I just was like yeah. I'm American now. But yeah, it doesn't work the same for internationals.
Yeah. Well, I guess as well, while we're here, can you walk us through the whole sort of setup situation? What's the kind of aims of the season out there? Why are you flying all over the country? Yeah, give us a rundown on what's going on out there, race wise.
I
Uh,
think for cross country, it's like very much a team sport here for cross country. So it's kind of like you do all these races to gain points, and then you do like your conference and then your regionals, and hopefully like qualify for nationals. So I think the whole aim of like the cross country season is to get your team to qualify for nationals, which is next week. So you do all these races in different places to get points, basically, I think.
Okay, nice. And how have you found that, I guess, compared to sort of maybe the motivations from back in the UK?
I think the team aspect is very different, but in a good way. And I think the race on Friday, so regionals, was the first race that I really felt like I was running it like an American cross country. Because I think in the other races I was still trying to like figure out what it meant to like run as a team. But yeah, I'm very lucky at Georgetown. There's a lot of girls who are around my level, so we can just run the races together. And I think it meant that I can kind of like it meant I could start the race um like just feeling calmer and knowing that yeah like the first bit can be comfortable, just trying like rather than like focusing on everyone around you, staying with your teammates, and then like switching on in the last bit when it gets hard.
Mm. Yeah, it's really nice to hear. It's always nice to kind of share the pressure. I suppose it takes it off you in some respects. And what would you say team means to you now, having been out sort of running in the system for a bit? And is that different to maybe how you interpreted it before heading out?
I think it's like it means a lot more now because I think the only kind of team thing that you'd have in the UK for cross country would be like Mansfield relays or like cross country relays or something like that. So now it's kind of just like because the way it's done is so like top five runners in your team score, but then you run seven athletes. So only five people will like count towards the team. Um, and I've kind of learned to be like, I don't know really how to describe it. Like you're supporting all your teammates instead of just like thinking about your own performance. Like you're thinking, oh my gosh, these people can't, like, we do not want those people to get ill because they're going to be our top scorers. Like, if that makes sense. Because it's like, with regionals and nationals, there's like eight of us for seven spots at the moment. So, like, I ran regionals and then Tilly's running nationals. So, I'm just going as the alternate for nationals. But it's kind of like, it's really nice because you still get to like go and support the team. You get all the kit. Like, if you go on the podium, you still get like a trophy. So, it's very much like, you travel as a team, you warm up as a team, you do pre-meet as a team, like everything is with the other girls, which is it's just really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds really positive. And do you think that's something that maybe the UK could learn from a little bit and something that you think would be a lot nicer to have out here or here?
I think so, yeah, definitely. I think cross country is very individual in the UK. Like everyone's just in it for themselves instead of like their club or their team. But I also think it's different because like the NCAA system they have here is like it's so different to the clubs and universities in the UK. Like you run for your club or you run for your uni. Whereas here it's like just designate. Like obviously you've got bucks, but I just don't even think it's the same.
Mm. Almi, would you be able to expand a bit on, say, maybe the key differences between the NCAA system and what we have in the UK?
Well, I think Bucks, there's only one Bucks, there's like the Bucks cross country, and then that's one race in the year where you're racing with that team. Whereas here, you're doing five or six races. And I think it's hard to get that team feeling from one race,
Mm.
especially if you're not training with the same people. Um, so here, yeah, we train together, and then are going into races together. So I think that is a main difference. That is a big difference, and I think at some universities in the UK there are you train with the people that you're then going to race with because like I say Birmingham and Loughborough and probably a few others like that as well. But for me, like in Leeds, I was training up at Beckett, so not with the team that I then race for. Um,
Okay. Yeah, no, that's really interesting to hear. And yeah, definitely, I guess, in the case of both of you, you were very much sort of more of an individual entity in your university situation. So yeah, nice to have the change now, I'd imagine. And so you also mentioned as well about there being the seven kind of runners, one alternative, but also that there are more people on the team potentially. So does it ever get a bit competitive, or what's that dynamic like? And is there ever the threat of not being part of the racing squad?
I definitely think here there was quite a big, like at the start of I kind of came here thinking, oh, I should be fine to get onto the travel team cross country. And then when I got here and started training, I was like, oh, I actually don't know if I'm going to make the travel team. Um, it was kind of different. Like there's 28 girls on our roster, which is massive. I mean, not all of them are cross country runners. So one of the girls is actually a 100-meter runner, and she was doing like a few of the cross countries at the start. So I think the team just kind of picks itself as the season goes on. I mean, definitely did for us anyway, because you had like people would get injured or people drop out or people would be unwell, and then it kind of ended up being quite an obvious group of 8 that they take for the races, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And how about for you, Almi?
Yeah, no, like very similar. I think we've got 20 to 25 girls on the team altogether. And then um, I think, I mean, that's one thing that I'm just grateful, like that I'm able to experience it all and that I'm healthy and like not injured. Because I think especially with all the changes and kind of like, like new schedules and new training, new people, that like I think it's something that I don't want to take for granted, being able to be healthy and race.
Yeah, definitely. Health's always a number one priority for athletes. And it definitely seems once people put the focus on that and often enjoyment as well, that the rest tends to fall into place. And I guess around that as well, there is a lot of talk about, America being a place that can be quite toxic or, a bit of a make or break, sink or swim. Have you guys had any hesitations around that or noticed anything that kind of aligns with, I guess, some of these ideas that people have in their head about going to America?
I think it probably depends very much on the coach that you've got in your program, and I'm very lucky. Like the coach we have, Coach Baker, is amazing, and he's I'd say probably on the cautious side, which I think is very important especially when there are so many girls who are probably all very competitive, and because it's such a long season, we started racing back in September, um, and every 2 weeks we're off traveling to another race. So I think if you're pushing it too hard, then you're like it's going to be a struggle to even make it to nationals, like 3 months later. So I think having that voice or that advice from the coach is very important.
Yeah, no, that sounds really good that you've got a setup like that. And how would you say it's sort of similar for you, Jazz?
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, our coach as well, I would say he's also kind of like on that cautious side. Like he wants to make sure everyone's like healthy. They really look after us in between races. So he'll make sure he must spend like a lot of time doing it, but he'll like go through our individual training and say like, oh, so you raced really hard on Friday. Um, let's drop your long run by 3 miles or something like that. And so let's reduce the intensity of this by something. And I think I mean, I'm not sure how it's like done at Georgetown, but here they'll like do regular blood tests to like check our iron levels, and our other levels are like all within the right range and healthy. And it's kind of just keeping a constant eye on things to make sure that we're all doing well, because it kind of links back to the whole team thing where it's like if your second or third scorer suddenly becomes really unwell, then that's the potential for your team to like lose out on a podium place. So it's kind of like you want to make sure that every single runner is at their best.
That's really nice to hear. It's really nice to hear that team element coming through. And
Yeah.
I can tell it's really like filtered into your mindset as well, which is
It
really
is, it
nice.
is.
And for both of you, how did you end up at the unis you're at now? What what led to that? What was the decision-making process like? And, your current setup there in terms of maybe any new changes or any benefits you've already seen?
Okay, so I finished undergrad in Leeds in May this year. And so, but about a year, like, so the September before that, um, I I don't know. I was just like, oh wait, America's still a thing. Let me go try that. And I think it's a way of carrying on running, without having to kind of like compromise it with a full-time job. And just like another experience, like seeing a new country, new culture. Um, and so I visited Georgetown, BC, and Duke, um, a year before coming, and then yeah, I don't know, after those visits, I decided I'd come to Georgetown.
Yeah. No, that's nice to hear. And any benefits you've already seen or anything that's kind of new from a running performance perspective that is kind of been noticeable for you?
I think one thing that I'm um trying to learn and embrace is that like not when you're so like you're not going to go into every race feeling 100% and perfect and well nothing's ever going to be perfect, so you've got to like make the most of the situation that you've got. And I think over the summer I struggled a bit with that, um kind of going into races thinking, oh, like I've trained so well and it's gonna be a nice easy race, but like races aren't meant to be easy. And I think so then I'd panic and um kind of be like, wait, why is it hard? I've done all this training, and kind of like talk myself out of the race. Whereas now I'm learning that yeah, races are meant to be hard and you're meant to feel uncomfortable. Um so kind of like seeing that as the normal. Um and like I mean I've like that's from like the coaching has definitely helped me um to like see races in a new way like that.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting you say that as well, because obviously, you're a very good athlete. You've been running for a long time. So does that mean that potentially in the past, maybe it felt relatively easier to perform at a higher level back in the UK? I mean, it seems like the standard's incredibly, incredibly high out in the NCAA.
Yeah, I think definitely, especially in your first few races, you have no idea where you're going to be, which is nice in some ways. But I think it's just about focusing on your own journey. And um yeah, I think um wait, I don't like I just yeah, I think coming from the UK where you know where you're like kind of like where you're meant to be, I think there are like positives and negatives to that, because then you have like expectation on yourself. Whereas here it's kind of like a clean board. And yeah, I've enjoyed just being like, okay, I'm just gonna try as hard as I can today, and that's all I'm asking myself. Um,
Yeah, that
yeah.
sounds like a really good mindset and something that I think maybe a lot of people listening can hold on to and maybe channel for themselves. And Jazz, I don't know if a lot of that or any of that sort of resonated with you, or you've got any sort of additional reflections to add, and also your journey to Albuquerque.
Yeah, so it was kind of different. I mean, I was doing the whole like I was coming to the end of my degree, thinking about, oh, what do I want to do after this? Like I was interviewing and applying for grad
Mm.
jobs. So originally I was planning on actually moving down to like London area and probably training in the Teddington area, like doing possibly a master's at like St. Mary's. But I think my running and my training kind of took off, and my PBs just were getting a lot better in the first few months of the year. And I started getting a couple of messages on Instagram from like a few places in America being like, oh, do you want to come and run for us? And originally I was thinking about going to Missouri, so it's called Mizzou. Um, but then Coach Gorson here sent me a message on Instagram in about like I'd say early April maybe. And he was like, oh, do you want to come and run to New Mexico? And talking to other people, like talking to my coach from back home, he was like, oh, if you're going to go anywhere in America, like go to Albuquerque because it's out that you're living at altitude for 2 years. A lot of Brits have come to New Mexico, like Hannah Nuttall. There's a whole group of them that have all been here. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll think about going to the US. It was a daunting decision to make, I think, and it took a very long time for me to make the decision because I was very safe, like felt very safe and comfortable with the setup that I had going on at home, and it had kind of helped me to improve a lot over the last year. So I was kind of like, oh, it's going to America. The training style is going to be different. Like everything's going to be different. So I don't know if it would be better for me. But then I had other people telling me like, you'd be so stupid to pass out on an opportunity to, first of all, like get a master's degree, and second of all, actually see parts of the world that you haven't seen before. So I was like, okay, fine. So yeah, that made the decision to come here.
Yeah, no, there's definitely so many factors. And I think it's one of those things that's tossed around quite a lot in the running world, like, oh,
Mm,
X has gone to America, or oh, are you going to go? But
yeah,
it is your life. Like, it is a life. It is, there's the person behind that. It's a huge thing to sort of uproot and start over and jump into something completely unknown. And is there anything that you've kind of experienced so far that's particularly struck you or has kind of given you food for thought?
I think, like I said kind of earlier, particularly the cross country, like only running cross country races throughout the winter, I think has been a bit of like a kick. I'm not really sure because I'm not really a cross country runner. There's something about it that I just never feel like I'm performing well, and I just find it really, really hard, which I'm sure like a lot of other people do. But I think it's been kind of hard not having like road races in between, because I think when you do a road race, you know exactly like, oh, this is where my fitness is at because this is what time I'm running. Whereas with cross country, every single course is different. So you just can't compare the times that you're running to each other. So I think that there's that part of me that's like, oh, I can't wait to get back to the UK and like do a few road races and see if all this training is actually improving me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I guess, yeah,
Yeah,
it's hard to benchmark and you kind of are left
yeah,
wondering and wanting to know where you'd line up, where you kind of
yeah.
originally started for sure. And I guess on that note in general, I mean, if we kind of loop back to when I last spoke to you both, which was pretty much, a year and a couple of months ago kind of time frame. You've both improved a lot, improved steadily, had some really good, really notable performances. In particular, I mean, Jasmine, you've gone 16:13 on the 5K. Almi, you've gone 16 on the 5K, quite a few times actually. You've both done very, very well at Bucks. Almi third at Bucks Cross. Jasmine, you won the Bucks 10,000 with a particularly fast closing kilometer. And yeah, in general, you guys have run some really, really good times. So has anything overall changed maybe in terms of your approaches, your training, any sort of breakthroughs in terms of maybe your mentality or learning moments?
I'm still working it out. I'm still working it
I mean, who's not, right? It's a long process that never seems to
out.
end.
I think it's kind of like trusting someone else, because I think back in the UK, I very much had a quite a big say in what my training was. Like my coach Alan, it was all like over email and online or through like phone calls. He'd send me, oh, this is what I recommend you do for this week, and I'd be like, oh, I don't actually want to do that on Thursday. I'd rather do this. And he'd be like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Let's compromise and do it like this. But here it's very much like, this is what I want you to do for the week. This is what you do for the week, basically. So it's kind of just like, actually, it's taught me to trust someone else with my own training, which I think I've been very like self motivated with it in the past, but now I've actually got like, I don't really know how to describe it. Just
No, it's
kind
really
of someone
interesting.
else doing it all for you, and you
Yeah.
kind of not really having a say in it, but also having like a little say in it, but also not.
No, it's a big change. I mean, I have to say, I actually also really quite like to do my own thing just because I find it
Yeah,
quite interesting and enjoyable to like decide to do something, or I just change my
yeah.
mind. So it's very different. Would you say like you've got any change in sort of motivation in terms of running? Because I guess you're getting slightly different things out of it.
I think for me it's like there's a lot more emphasis on racing, and then so kind of being in the right spot to race and like racing mentality, because we're just racing a lot more. So I think that's quite nice because you just get to practice it a lot more. Um, and I think, but yeah, like Jazz was saying earlier, it's weird because I have no idea how fit I am because yeah,
Yeah,
everything we're doing is cross country, but we don't have like even kind of like the workouts that we do, they're not they're not like
you can't gauge where your
yeah,
fitness is from it,
yeah,
and
and
you're
I
like,
guess you're at altitude as well, like that's
oh
another
my gosh, don't
yeah.
even get me started. I'm like on the floor after every single workout, like can't breathe. It's like you can't just like go down to Battersea on a random Sunday and bang out a 5K and say like, oh, I can run this 5K right now, like, and now I know what to work towards for later in the season. It's just like, oh, I felt like rubbish in this country race. I didn't feel quite as rubbish in this one, but maybe that's because the course was flat. So it's just like you just can't tell where your fitness is.
Mhm. That's really interesting. I guess, I don't know, it sounds like you maybe both have plans to come back over the Christmas period. I know there's a New Year's Eve podium 5K. Are you
Yeah.
guys going to make an appearance?
I wish.
I've
I
got
want
I've
to
got
go
a
to
different
Spain,
Oh,
plan.
so
oh, can you spill, or is it confidential at this point?
wait, Jazz. Oh, I'm going to Spain,
uh,
so I'm not going to
ah,
be racing in any. Although I think I might. There's like a 10K in Madrid on New Year's Eve, and it looked very fun last year. So
yeah.
I'm going to be doing that. I don't know whether I'll be running fast at it, but I'm going to be there.
That sounds
Yeah,
really
I'm in
nice.
Barcelona for over the New Year's. There's like a 5K there, so I'm doing that.
Okay. Oh, Jazz.
But yeah.
Well, I think we're gonna get. Yeah, I'm gonna get the train back to Barcelona because like I'm gonna be in Girona over Christmas.
Oh, you
So
should come
and
and do
then
the 5K on in Barcelona. It's supposed to be really quick on New Year's
wait, is
Eve
that
as
on New
well.
Year's Eve?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll do that because I was gonna do the 10K in Madrid, but Barcelona would actually be easier.
Yeah, I think you should do it. Like, I think it's where Beatrice Chebet broke the world record there like a couple of years ago on the 5K. It's
Okay.
rapid.
Oh, okay. See
Wow.
you
And it's not
there.
going to be cold and rainy.
Yeah.
I love how you guys said you're looking forward to, a bit of British soil, and yet you're both yeeting off to Spain.
Yeah, that's so
I
true.
said European. I did
That's
not say
true.
British.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
That's true. I stand corrected. Probably gonna have to like blur out some of that because otherwise you have a load of stalkers like turning up at your Christmas.
Yeah.
But no, that's really cool. I'm sure that'll be nice to, I guess, yeah, get that run in and everything. And I guess in general, what are your kind of current motivations and what are you hoping to get out from your time in America?
I think kind of just like develop as a person as well as a runner. So kind of just broaden my horizons onto things that I'm not comfortable with, if that makes sense, and like push myself out of my comfort zone and do things that I typically wouldn't do. But then obviously we've come here to run. I want to develop as a runner. And next year this we've got like big goals. So it's kind of like, yeah, I've got sights set on 2025 at the moment because I'm sick of cross country. Joke.
I mean,
One
everyone's got
more.
the one.
One more to go. One more to go.
Oh, shoot.
How about you, Almi?
Um. Oh well, Jazz, that made me so happy when you said that. Warm my heart. No, yeah, like the same thing. I guess like yeah, just like I am. To be fair, I'm learning a lot about myself. Like I'm like I never knew that I was
Yeah.
the quiet one in the corner. Um, but what else? I think like I just think it's like another 2 years to like be on this running journey. Like I feel
Mm.
like it just gives me a bit more time. I think before I just rushed it, and that meant that I'd get injured, and I don't know. I set like myself with like time limits for no reason on kind of like where I should be, um, running wise at like certain ages, and now I'm like I'm just gonna go with the flow. Um, yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's definitely such a real thing, kind of setting those time limits. I know for me it was always running ends when you go to uni. And I don't know where it came from, but it was there. But yeah, these things definitely can sort of, I suppose, yeah, like hold you back in a way. And I guess it's really always good to, jump out your comfort zone, try new things, learn new things about yourself. Is there anything that either of you kind of realized that you're like, oh, I never thought that about myself before?
I think maybe that I just really like actually just spending time like by myself, like just going to bed early, sticking on Netflix and sitting in bed. I
Same.
love it. I love
Honestly,
it.
same. It's like I feel like I need that extra energy for when I'm out and
I need
about.
to recharge. I need
Yeah.
to recharge because like you go into like there's a whole load of freshman girls here that are on the team and they all live in a flat together, and as soon as you go into their flat it's like screaming, like hysterics, jumping about, and then as soon as I'm back I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to recharge my batteries.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So it does sound like perhaps if someone was particularly quiet or introverted, maybe the American system might not be an immediate
Mm,
click.
Well, I feel like you just be used to being the introvert. Like
That's
I
true.
yeah.
Experienced.
I think it's like different for everybody as well. Like I know a lot of the girls who came here, and like Almi has, like a lot of people visit the schools they're going to like before they actually commit. So you kind of get a vibe for like what the team's like. And I know I was on a call when I was coming here, like I was on a call with a couple of the other girls so they could kind of talk to you about like what the team dynamic is like and you can kind of gauge it. So it's kind of just about, if you're going to go to America, like finding a place that's going to like develop you, but then also is the right environment for you to be in so you don't feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, no, that sounds really good. And I
Yeah.
guess, yeah, we're coming to the end of our time. So some kind of like quick fire questions to finish up with. So we'll go Jazz Almi on all questions just to keep things easy.
Okay.
Proudest running moment over the past year?
Mine would be Bucks 10,000.
Yeah. Anything in particular other than the standout performance from a kind of on paper point of view?
I don't really know because I was injured. I've been injured for like 4 months over summer. So it was like, I feel like I've got more to give. So hopefully I can answer that question better in December
Okay, we'll get
after
back
road
to this.
racing. Yeah.
Almi?
um I was gonna say Telford 10K, um, where I ran my 10K PB, but then I thought like proudest probably was in the summer when I'd had like a bit of a rough period, and then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna call it a day. But I actually did one more race, just to kind of like show myself that I could, and that was yeah.
I
I
mean
was
that was the
Yeah.
32:43 in Telford, which was pretty good. But
Oh,
which race was this in particular?
this I think the last race I did was in Birmingham, just
Oh
like a
yeah,
BM on the track.
BMC.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'd kind of like thought, oh, summer's done. There's something wrong with me. But yeah, I got myself back on the line, so I'm proud of myself for that.
Oh,
that's hard
100%.
as well, especially when your mindset like kind of filters off running and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the end. It's hard to like actually get yourself to go back on the start line.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think it's a lot less scary than it actually is. You know, like
Yeah.
you kind of like get yourself in a bit of a mental state, and then
Bit of a tiz.
Yeah, I bet the Americans wouldn't like that, the use of the word tis.
Oh, probably not.
Um, and so as well, what's your favorite session?
We don't actually do them here, but like back in the UK, actually really enjoyed double threshold days
Mm.
because once we did like the testing and found where my threshold was, they actually felt easy. Like they didn't feel like 2 sessions in a day. And because my degree was not very taxing, I do like one session, sleep all day, eat all day, and then do another session in the evening. I actually really enjoyed that.
I mean, it's good to know what you enjoy because, you know, at some
Yeah.
stage you can always go back to these double threshold days. Maybe I have to go to
Yeah.
Norway.
Yeah.
How about you, Almi?
Um, I'd say same. It's like one back in the UK, a progression run with the girls on the canal in Leeds.
Oh,
Because there'd be like 4 or 5 of us, and we'd have 4 or 5 miles of progression to do, and we just take a mile each, and then go for coffee after. It was nice.
Oh, sounds very wholesome. Okay, and what's your favorite like post-race celebration?
oh. Like going and getting like a milkshake or something. But something we've been doing here is like getting a it's like a soda float. So it's like Coke or root beer or something, and then they just put ice cream in it. And the coaches have been taking us to get those after our races, so I quite like that. And then just sleeping, to be honest.
Yeah, the essentials.
Yeah.
If we can get a shower after the race and
Oh yeah,
that is a treat.
Cool. And
that is true.
favorite quote at the moment, or like, I don't know, mantra, something random fact you've heard, anything along those lines?
I think it's probably something that, like, because before a race we'll have like a little team meeting where we'll all kind of like motivate each other. And what the girls usually say is that you feel like you can't like stay with the group of girls. It's like you train with those girls every day. You hit the same pace as them every day, and you're perfectly capable of running just as good as they are. So it's like, don't think that you're not as good as someone else just because it's like getting in your head, like, if that makes sense. It's kind of like just a you can do it attitude.
No, that's love that. You gotta have that self-belief, and sometimes it's reassuring to look to those around you as well. And Almi, I can see you're scrolling through, I'm guessing, the quotes page.
Yeah,
I didn't have time to scroll through.
Okay, well, wait. Thing is,
The pressure.
I'm trying to find one that's kind of like somehow linked to running. But okay, I'd just say like progress rather than perfection is what like my mindset is right now, you know? Just small steps, and it just makes it a lot more enjoyable because it's easy to make progress and you're never going to reach perfection. So
exactly.
Wise and beautiful words. And very, very true ones as well. You know, there's absolutely no point wasting any time searching for or chasing for perfection, because unfortunately that thing doesn't exist. So okay, and finally, if you had to be stranded on a desert island, you know, hopefully you won't be, but Jasmine kind of sounds like you're already there. Then who would you be stranded with and why?
I think me and Jazz would do quite well together.
I think we'd be good.
No, I'm going to bed.
You just go have a nap. I actually think that would be good. No, but literally, this is like a desert in the middle of nowhere. Like when we went to Madison for pre-nats, and there was like, I can't remember what the Lake Michigan. We were like, oh my God, water. Like we haven't seen water or like a river or a lake in so many months. But I actually think probably my boyfriend, just because like he's just my best friend, so we just get along well.
That's so cute. I love that.
Yeah.
And Almi, obviously Jazz first, but you know, second best.
Who's your second choice?
I think maybe I'd say my brother, because I feel like we'd have a lot of time to spend together, which we haven't in the recently in the last few years. So it'd be nice to like get to know each other. Well, not get to know each other, but like get to know each other better as like adults. But I'm kind of hoping...
such a good answer.
It's definitely a like slightly different one when you kind of everyone's finished going through uni and you kind of like all like, okay, we're on the other side now, guys.
Actual adults.
That's really nice to hear. And it's been so great having you both on, and it's good to hear that sounds like things are going well out in the States for you both, and obviously you've both been running absolutely amazingly. So, you know, regardless of whether you can benchmark it or not, I'm sure everything's ticking along just fine. So thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
It was nice chatting.
So that's
really,
it for today.
Really
great to Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, be sure to rate, subscribe, and leave a review. This really helps to get the content out there. And I want to make this podcast the best possible for you. So go follow Fitter, Faster, Happier on Instagram. That's Fitter, Faster, Happier, to leave your questions, comments, and feedback, and for updates and guest requests. All the best for the week ahead, guys. Run happy, live happy, be happy.